Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. My name is Kevin Powell. I love all things rock, metal, everything in between, and I love talking to bands. So I've done it all year, and I'm going to keep that train a rolling. Right now, I have a band with me called Deviants. How you guys doing?
Doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Pretty good, pretty busy. I got home from work and I threw all my stuff down on the ground, and I'm like, all right, let's go. And it's a good chaos, but it's fine. It's what I love doing, and I love talking to bands like you guys. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves? What do you guys do in the band?
I'm Dave. I play guitar and I also do vocals. I also do a lot of audio production and video production. And that's basically it. Yeah.
I'm John. I play drums and do singing and screaming for the band. Take a nice sized portion in the lyrical and instrumental writing alongside Dave. And then we also co-direct all of our music videos.
So we're going to dive a little more into that here in a second. I want to know how you guys kind of got together. How did Deviants start?
What a story.
What a story.
John, you can start.
So actually, Deviants was formed back in 2020, and we kind of had a little bit of a different lineup then. And because of all of, everybody's lives just changing, adding more
diversity, really.
Yeah, diversity and everything. It ended up just becoming me, and I was the only real member of Deviants at that point. And then me and Dave actually met through a show that I had booked for the band, and he played direct support for us beforehand. I want to say probably 6 months before it ended up just being me. Our bass guitarist ended up coming back when Dave was officially in the band at that point. And then we picked up our rhythm guitarist and kind of just reformed as a band. And Dave actually took some of those songs with me that we had written initially before Dave was here, and we made it into the sound that Incinerate is, and completely kind of flipped it on its head.
I think it's important to add to this story about so I was in another band, obviously, and it was a band I started. It was about a 10-year long project. So we were active in the local scene and around the Cleveland area. And when John set up his headliner for his release show, shortly after that, everything kind of went to shit. And me and John stayed in contact, and I talked to him often, and he even considered quitting. Well, I love music so much, and I love people who love music. So I told him, no, you're not quitting. And so I'm like, we're gonna revive this. And basically, Deviants didn't have any solid recording tracks besides one song that was produced. They just had ideas. So me and John sat down together, and I'm like, how does this song go? And he's like, dun 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 dun. And I'm like, all right, cool, you got it. And then I put that on the guitar, put it through the DAW, and then we reimagined all the tracks, and then everything is basically history.
It's kind of like the lead riff in Lifeline. I wrote that with my mouth.
Yeah. I was going to say, how many notes or audio notes do you guys have of just okay, song idea 5, dun, 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 dun. It just, I have so many.
You'd be so surprised. You'd be so surprised how many things we got pinned in our chat.
Oh, yeah. And then even one line lyrics, just we could write a song like that.
I have, if I go through my notes, I have stuff from 2017 still, I think. And I'm it just says title, and it's the dumbest thing I've ever thought of. I'm like, why did I save this? And then delete, just whatever. So you guys released an EP back in August. What was the inspiration behind it? Are there any specific themes, stories, anything like that? How did this EP come to be?
I feel like that Incinerate was the seed for the vision of Deviants. I think that a lot of the stuff that we created from that had a starting point from at least even all the prior members. So after we've experienced or experimented with writing new material, you can tell the gap between the vision. So I know none of that stuff's out yet, and it's not really important, but Yeah.
With Incinerate, it was all just kind of songs that when I was in my teens, I was like, yo, here's a cool little chorus melody because I like listening to metal. And the amount of times that it changed, like I actually have a video of me doing an entire concept for our song Burn in my bedroom in 2017. And it's extremely cringy and terrible. But
gotta start somewhere.
Maybe one day it will be released to the world to laugh at me for, but it's cool to see like little ideas from the initial vision of what there was for Deviants, seeing the progression and how far those ideas have come to actually be something.
Yeah.
So
a lot of them are just like on the spot, like inspiration. There's not really like, I don't think there's exactly like a core inspiration that drives a lot of them. And maybe it's good that way. So like they can be extremely relatable. And we want anybody that listens to our music to just be able to be like, oh, this song means this to me. And I feel like that's pretty cool.
So how about a favorite song that each of you have on this EP and why?
We both know already. Go ahead, Tom.
Oh, mine's Pain for sure. I love Pain. I love the little 8-bit that's at the beginning of it. The chorus to me is the catchiest. It has a really deep meaning, and I think it's probably lyrically the best song on the album. And it's also really highly relatable because of the issues that it touches on for mental health.
Yeah, that's big. Mine definitely is Gravity. And I don't think it's because it's the best song on the EP. I think the sentimental aspect to it, to me, makes it my favorite because it was technically the first thing creatively I brought to Deviants as a guitar aspect, because it started off as just like an idea in John's head lyrically, and with, not to call anybody out or anything, but it kind of got turned down a lot by previous members. And I'm like, well, I want to see what happens to it. And it grew into something really special. And I feel like because I was able to take my style and bring it closer to Deviants for like the first time and actually make the idea come to life and it still be, I think, a really good song, I feel like that's kind of really cool. I can connect with that.
I think that Gravity is actually like the closest song off that EP to the kind of stuff that we do now, because Dave did have such a heavy influence on how riffs should go. The second breakdown in the song wasn't there before Dave and I had a manic episode one day here. And we were just like, oh, what if we do
just a bunch of noises? That's cool.
And I think we also talked before this, you guys have shifted from like outsourcing your stuff to studios to kind of self-producing. Why go down that route? You know, what's been, I don't want to say the reception because it's all you guys, but what's been the overall thought behind it?
It's a massive money saver. And you can also, on top of that, you can also take the time that like there's less revisions at that point that you have to work with the outsourced studio or producer, because when you're sending or when you're receiving mixes from your producer, it's constant. Oh, the drums are too loud. Oh, the vocals are screaming. We got to bring that down. And it's just taking another perspective from somebody who isn't in the band on a final product for the band, and where that can be good at times, keeping it all in-house as long as it's done properly. To me, I think that's the best option possible, because we can all 100% sit down and be like, this is what I want. How do we do it? We figure out how to do it, and then we can take full pride in that.
There's also a lot of like other things. Oh, kitty cat. I have 3.
So sometimes there's going to be a little special guest.
That's okay.
Interviews.
You might see one of mine.
A little special. That's his Max.
From like my perspective, I'm 31 years old. I've been playing guitar since I was 8 years old. Like I've always been even since I was young, like driven to play music. And so I found myself, like, I guess more or less meeting the right people within my area that help really educate and shape the kind of direction. There's a local producer. His name is Scooter Fort. Shout out. He's a great guy. And I learned a lot from him because we'd spend in my old band weeks working with him and being able to say, if you care about it so much, you can sit there and really analyze the steps to it. And not only just that, but it's been a handful of other producers that I ended up working with as well. And it got to a point where it's like, well, with this day and age, it's so competitive out there. Like, if your mix isn't bumping, if it doesn't slam, if it's not loud, it's hard to really like keep it within the ocean of music. And that's not really just my opinion. I feel like it's several other people that I've talked to.
No, it's how it is.
Yeah. So, and I'm not saying, like, when I say this next thing, I'm not happy with our mixes or whatever. I just think that we just kind of talking back to about what John has said is we could have more time and we could add more stuff. And as people from the band, we can care much more. It was quite of an investment to get to where kind of we're at right now, but there is definitely a visual and audible difference. So, like, just being able to apply everything, and like, I'm a bit of a nerd. I overwatch YouTube and I overlearn. So, you know, having those like things contrast and like overlap with each other kind of just made it easier for us to make the decision to do it. And I guess we're going to find out how well it goes when we drop the next single. But, you know.
So who takes the producer reins now? Is it everybody? Is it kind of one guy? Okay, he's pointing to you. Okay.
More like engineer, you know,
yes,
like,
yes.
I mean, I do produce like a lot of the guitar stuff, but at the same time, like, there's just like gray area when it comes to like engineers, producers, mixing engineers, mastering engineers. It's just like when you put those things in, it feels like it's excluding other parts to the process. And I love that everybody in the band wants, you know, to be a part of it. So, like, I'm okay with taking that role of being the engineer producer aspect.
A big thing that I plan on moving into in the future is recording my own vocal takes at home and editing my own vocals to where it takes a little bit of that weight off of his shoulders so he doesn't have to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot. That my mix right now is there's so many tracks. I have 2 plugins that are on. When you click analog on a plugin, and then everything else is just straight, you know, digital. There's like this weird static. It always happens, and then you got to dig through 200 tracks to find out what the fuck is it. Excuse me, sorry. Where the heck is this compressor?
So, how many songs have you self-produced so far for Deviants?
I'd say 1.5.
1.5, yeah.
So wait until you start doing like 5.
Yeah.
6.
Oh, yeah.
And
I
then
know.
every single one, you'll be like, man, I definitely should have done this. Dummy. I can't believe it. It's hectic, but it's funny.
I hear it. I hear about it. And I'm like, oh no.
That's the other beautiful thing about going into self-producing is the fact that there's always even more that you can learn from, because you will listen back as you keep going forward and you'll be like, oh, this song sounds really good. Best one we've done. You release the next song. This is the best one that we've done. And then you look back and you're like, I should have done this differently.
I'm on mix like 100 with our new song. Like, to be I'm not even playing. Like, it's got to a point where it's like, all right, this isn't what I want. I'm just going to redo the whole thing. And then it's like, okay, I forgot it. This is entirely most important step that I need to do. So I got to restart all over. But like, that's the thing is,
I've done it too.
That's the thing is, like, it's going to be like that. We, even with our videos and stuff, like I learned to like video edit, like as we were video editing the music videos. So it's just like, well, we got to work with what we have. And if we only have so much funds, then we got to at least try to sculpt the vision with what material we can do.
So here's the thing with self-producing. The first thing you said was it's a money saver. Boy, is it, because you know, there's a lot of people who might watch this that are in bands, that have been in bands for a long time, or it might just be general music lovers. If they don't know the expense cost for a good producer, it will overwhelm you because it's not the same price it was back in 2020, let alone 2017, let alone as you keep going down. Now, yeah, things have gone up in general.
Yeah.
But this is a main reason why you see a lot of bands, self-producers, everything like that, kind of do everything on their own is because of the money thing.
Yep.
Then, as you mentioned, like we keep trying to do better. We're on this thing called Submit Hub. We've both ran into each other there.
Yep.
Boy, are these playlist editors picky because they need a very specific type of recording to be in their Spotify playlist. And if you don't meet the cut, even though you paid money to do it, see ya. It's so nitpicky now.
Yeah. It's cutthroat, man.
It is cutthroat. And if my cat does not, calm down. I'm trying so hard. It's just so funny. Anyways, it's actually Max's podcast here. Sorry, guys. We're just part of it. So, yes, that's the other thing, too, is it's a big learning experience. You've learned how to video edit. Do you think you've had any thought to do that 5 years ago, 6 years ago? No. Same thing with producing. I mean, yes, it's tedious. And, oh, my God, I got to do everything again. And, oh, my computer crashed. And it didn't
There's so much to it, man.
3 a.m. and I got to go to work at 2 hours. It's just like that. But when you're going to look back and you're going to go, wow, I'm so glad I did that.
Yeah.
And then maybe you kick it up 15,000 notches and you get super serious about it. Now people are coming to you like, man, I love your mixes. Let me pay you to do it for me. And you're like, oh.
Yeah, that is only just a part of the goal. But honestly, I feel like I would welcome it. Honestly, I mean, when I was younger, I used a program called Tux Guitar. I don't know if
I still have that.
Do you? Yes, I'm not alone. So there's mixing involved with that program, like especially if you use orchestra elements and stuff like that. And I was really big into orchestra, like metalcore. So I had violins, keys, you name it. But there's like a little bit of mixing, obviously just volume faders and stuff. And it's like, that's just like, was even just a little bit of a seed of interest is be like, okay, maybe it's possible because I do have also a picky taste in music. So, I mean, who knows,
I finally pulled the trigger and bought Guitar Pro. I don't remember who I was talking to, some band at some point. And they're like, bro, you got to get Guitar Pro. It's so helpful. I'm like, you're probably right. I just don't want to pay for it. And then I finally did. It's pretty good, but I also haven't dove into it just yet. Not enough time. Right now, I'm talking to a band out of the Cleveland, Ohio area called Deviants. And these guys have a lot going on. They just did an EP in August, right?
Yep, August 9th.
And you're working on another single, and I just heard a single and a half. So we're getting there.
We've got concepts for plenty.
Yeah, there'll definitely be another, probably even longer EP when we release for sure.
Probably a full length.
Yeah.
So I was going to kind of ask about that. Getting toward the end of 2024, what do you have coming up for 2025? What have you guys discussed? What's in the process here?
See, now we're in risky territory.
Well, we do know that we have I guess you could consider it a marketing campaign coming up for our newest song. And it's about zombies, and people love zombies. Zombies are metal. But we also have just like several other just like Imagine songs. So it's like, it's so hard to say because once I feel confident enough to a point to where I got our mixes to where I feel like we could push them out, because I'm not even going to send them to the guys until I send them to my other producer for my other band. And he's going to be like, yo, fix this, dummy. Yeah. Just in case, because I can't hear everything, man. I'm not perfect. I shot guns as a kid. But yeah, I feel like we're just, honestly, we're going to overhaul, like once this one single gets taken care of. We already shot the music video. We're going to throw that in the editor. When I used to edit the other videos, I was using a Dell. And for anybody who's a new musician, don't use Dells to do anything, because unless they're really high tier stuff, because I could not get anything done. I would be editing by the millisecond because that's all my computer could render. And that's not fun at all. So
how long did it I think it took us like 2 months to actually get Lifeline somewhat watchable.
And I work 12-hour shifts, man. Like I got like 5 hours of daylight, to myself. So, but I feel like that's really where we're at. We're gonna try to we're gonna try to kill it as much as we can and get as many songs done as we can, and then I guess paint the vision. We kind of have somewhat of an idea of a concept we're gonna go with, but
we also want to hit some venues, play some shows.
What ultimate goals do you have for 2025?
When it came to Incinerate, obviously balancing band life is tough. Like not everybody has $1 million to put into a project. I think I really want to jump on the opportunity in heavily investing and really pushing the newer stuff and really getting it throughout the internet. I can't remember what band did it. It was an interview. They said that they tried their best to kind of get well known in their local community, but they would obviously market and advertise. And eventually they became more popular in like New York and like all these other places. And then it came back around and then the local scene was basically hopping for them, So like, I really want to create a demand for Deviants. And I think we'll probably have a more established brand by the end of 2025 with including like a handful of singles, if not a full length EP.
We're hoping for a full length. We have a really cool concept for it. It'll be kind of like a concept album to where not necessarily all of the songs are going to be connected into one big story, but it would be different variations of the story. And I can't really say too terribly much more on that.
It sucks because we have so many ideas, and like when you're swimming in an ocean of bands, man, like, and not having enough, I guess, following, it's like these ideas seem to fizzle. And I really want to make sure we capitalize on financing and do what we can. Maybe even turn Deviants into an LLC. I don't know, just like getting definitely a lot more professional. I even know don't say we're not professional or anything, but I would like
certainly there's certainly a look that bands have that definitely are like, whoa, these guys do business. Yeah, I'm not saying you guys don't, but like that feeling of like, oh shit.
Yeah, for sure. And we even got little tiny aspects about it. Like we all have red instruments. We didn't do that on purpose.
No,
we just all happen to have red instruments, and Deviants kind of gives off a red feel, I feel like, in my brain. Maybe that's just my brain.
I always thought it was blue, but okay.
Whatever. Blue, red, same thing.
So what final words would you like to say to fans, whether they've been there since day one, maybe you just got some new fans, anything at all?
Well, we love and appreciate every single person that wants to take the time and give us a listen, give us a view, check us out. If you like the music, just share it with your friends, listen to it, throw it on repeat at work for 8 hours when you're pissed off. We just, and keep a lookout for announcements on us, because we most definitely have a single that I'm going to confidently say is going to be out within the first quarter of 2025.
I genuinely feel like the newest single is like going from base Saiyan form to SS Super Saiyan God. It is quite the difference in like maturity, I feel.
The lyricism on this next song is hands down the best lyricism that we have.
It sucks because we can't share, and it's just like, and like, it sucks.
I want it to be out to the world. That's why, like, I've been kicking him in the ass, being like, "Where's my fucking mix?"
Just as he came over today, my computer, it's like just started like freaking out, and like I'm like, no way, because it's like an $1,800 computer, dude. There was something with the update. I updated it and changed the buffering size, and it was fine. But I was freaking out for no reason.
Oh,
it's always something. It's always something. That's for new musicians. It's always something.
It's always something.
I feel like that's great advice.
Yes.
I have a list of something at any given time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, gentlemen, I do appreciate a little bit of your time today. I'm going to be talking to you here in a little bit off air, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thanks
Talk
for
to you
having
then.
us, man.
Of
Yes.
course.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, so that's the band Deviants. They're based out of the Cleveland, Ohio area. They just put out an EP around August time, and they're already working on newer music. These guys, you know, if you're following like the Sonic Temple or the Incarceration or the DWP pages, you've probably seen them comment in there a few times. And hey, if it works, it works. So I do wish them the best of luck with that. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the podcast. Make sure you check out Deviants. We'll see you guys next time.